Hey, how you guys doing? This is producer from Brothers Comics. Welcome to the Marvel Hacks. Hey, y'all, it's our Ant-Man review. And if you've been with us for a while, you will know that there are often times that me and the other person on this podcast we call share a brain, air quotations. It's Brother Beavis. That's happening, man.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah. So I went and saw this movie opening, well, the day before opening night. So Thursday night, last Thursday night. You saw it on Monday. And so my initial review, which pretty much happens every time, and shouts out Sandman, you used to be the lead dog on this. First one to see the movie, first one to tell us, good, bad, or indifferent. So that has fallen to me, I think, for the most part. And so my initial thought was after reading the reviews online, I'm like, it's probably a little too much hate for this. Like, I don't really know. And I sent my thing out. I'm like, Hutch will probably like it, surprisingly. Sandman, oh, like it, even though he hates Kang. And you would like, you probably like it, but you'd have some problems with it.
Which is
So,
basically as high a bar as I hit on movies.
yeah. So, I mean, we're going to get into it. We got some stopping points that we'll talk about and kind of see where our disagreement comes. Again, I, I, I should say before we went into the movie, and I went with my daughter, I didn't go in with any expectations. And I think, particularly probably phase four, it's probably the best thing that you can do going into any of this phase four stuff, TV shows and movies at this point. Because the first three phases, I mean, for lack of a better word, ruined us
Mm.
in the sense that we were like, okay, I'm expecting this and it's going to logically move into this. Whereas phase four at some point in time may come together, but right now it feels like it's a little bit all over the place.
Phase
So,
4 was pretty much dumping the puzzle out of the box and just starting to turn the pieces over.
right.
I mean, whether it be just to get more properties in play or to not have to, like, your starting point on your cast salary is $100 million a piece or whatever, just to get out of that. They had to sort of expand the base of the Marvel universe and start to build out kind of the rest of the world. So I get that. Um, I saw something like they did 17 properties in 6 years or something, or not even 6 years, but there's been like 17 phase. I don't know. I'd have to count it, but there's like a
Right.
gang of stuff out now. And I think that's part of the problem is like
Mm.
it's come so fast. It's, it nothing with everything like, kind of middle of the road with some highs and lows. That much volume, yeah, it does wear on you.
Yeah. And I'm not calling this the Marvel fatigue. I wouldn't even call it that. I think there's just been some inconsistency and something that we never talk about on any of the, well, not never, but we don't ever harp on is going to come up here in a little bit about the lack of, or the very noticeable now, CGI problems.
Mm,
And that's a bigger issue than for just Marvel Disney,
mm.
whereas it's become a global issue or a global movie issue where, to be frank, just a lot of people can't do this shit. And it's becoming, everything is getting longer to produce it because there's so few people that can do it, let alone the fact that do it well. All right. So, first part of the show, we're going to, kind of set the premise for this. And like I said, I got some stopping points so we can talk about some of the characters, the characterization of some characters, and also why was this particular person even in the movie. We'll kind of keep it together. But basically, Ant-Man 3, it's just picking up really after Endgame.
Mm.
And Scott has become a published author now. There's a like a very, a kind of a walking narrative there at the beginning, literally, of that. And you're like, what the hell is going on here? And he's, reading his book back to people, and that's basically where he is. He's a published author. He's happy now. Everybody's back together. His daughter has gone through a cast change, but his daughter also, while Scott is doing books, she has been playing in the quantum realm with that's her step grandparents, correct? I don't even think it's that because
Yeah,
are him and
if it propagates that way, because Hank and Janet are not blood relatives of him. and
Right.
it's not clear that they're even married.
Yeah,
So
that's what
they're
I was
not
gonna
like
say.
they're not his in-laws.
Mm-hmm.
They're his ish-laws.
Yes.
So that's their grand niece ish law or whatever. I don't.
Yeah. So she's been playing around in the quantum realm or doing some sort of freaking science fair project about the quantum realm. And when Janet finds out, she's like, shut that shit down.
Mm,
Like, we don't need to be fooling with that. And they don't. And then they all get pulled into the quantum realm. So that's the opening premise, or that's the premise plot of how we get into the quantum realm. And then there was a part at the beginning where we saw inside the quantum realm where Kang showed up while Janet was in there, essentially help me. And we'll come back to that bit. All right. So let's do some characterization over the course of not just this scene, but in the course of the movie, because I'm going to say there was no purpose for a few of these people to be in this movie. First off, Wasp.
they did
Why?
not write a story for her. Well, wait, we're talking about Hope Van Dyne, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, they
Hope.
didn't even bother. Like, I don't know. They like her arc. Like she saves the day for no real reason. Like
Mm,
there's no reaffirmation of their relationship. It's like she's kind of portrayed as the new Tony Stark, philanthropist, billionaire saving the world.
mm,
And but she'll still take a break to have beers with Scott Lang,
yeah,
and she's still the adventurous spirit, and she just sat there with that hurt face the entire time, had like 3 lines of dialogue, and then saves the
yeah.
day at the end of the movie.
And you think about where the characterization has gone from movie one to three,
Hmm.
badass, whatever, to bad haircut.
Mm.
I mean, and again, the internet rumor and innuendo would be, what's that lady's name? Her real name,
Evangeline Lilly.
actress. Yeah, Evangeline Lilly. Allegedly, she's a anti-vax kind of weirdo.
Mm.
And Marvel was like, "Yeah, we're not going to be giving you a whole bunch here because of your anti-science, anti-vax stuff." And so possibly maybe her role got cut a bit. Name's still in the title, so you should give her something to do. But that's
Yeah.
definitely not what happened.
Yeah,
So yeah,
she was
it's
just, yeah, she added like to like I said, she basically saves the day repeatedly. She just kind of swoops in, and they're like,
yeah,
fuck it, you can be in here, you can save the day, you can do whatever you want.
yeah. It wasn't a good look. Um,
No.
so Janet Van
Yeah, and
Dyne.
she's an anti-vax mandate. I don't know if it's worth drawing a distinction or if there is one or if that's a mean to the end.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a tight line. Okay, what about Janet Van Dyne? Michelle
Janet
Pfeiffer
Van
comes.
Dyne was like, I'm 64. They ain't casting me in shit. I'm
Yeah.
about to act the shit out of this movie.
Yes,
I'm going to
exactly.
get me this Angela Bassett Oscar nomination. This is my movie, and y'all need to not fuck this up for me.
Yeah,
That was her entire, like
yeah.
she tried harder than I think anybody
Working
in
her
this
ass
movie.
off. She was working her ass off. Yes. Let's do a rewind real quick. 80s me. I could give a damn about Michelle Pfeiffer.
Mhm.
Like, all right, whatever. Long back. I don't really care. 2020s me. How you doing? Because
What's up, girl?
yeah,
You got them
yeah,
shrinking
exactly.
powers?
Kind of holla, kind of holla, holla, holla. Like, yeah, I was like, I wasn't feeling that before, but yeah, and
Yeah.
I mean, she really is the star of the movie. You
Yeah,
could
she
have
took this
cut,
shit serious.
yeah, you could have cut Wasp out of it and just made her Wasp for this movie
Mhm.
because Evangeline Lilly really had no purpose or point in it. So yeah, I thought she did a really good job. Hank Pym.
There for catering and a check.
Cash and creative, baby. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Michael Douglas, he's there. Again, you see the de-evolution of his character, much like you see of his daughter in these things. It just kind of got near the end. Like it
Mhm.
was like, yeah, I'm here, and it just fuck you, pay me.
I mean, if you
Um,
go back to the archives, for the original Ant-Man movie or the Lost
The
Ant-Man
Lost
review,
Ant-Man movie, yeah.
one of the things we talked about was like, wow, they really like took on the Hank Pym story and they had him out here, and that was a good component of this movie.
Mm.
He don't give a fuck about Ant-Man at
No,
this point.
exactly. Yeah, he's just done. He's like, I'm gonna have to cash this check and go home to my wife. We good.
And his plot line with him also saving the day on some bullshit, I
Yes.
was like,
Oh,
come on.
yeah. God damn it. All right, and then daughter Ant Man. A lot of internet chatter, and I really hate the internet. A lot of internet chatter is like, oh, why didn't they just cast the girl that was in from before? Were you really that invested in that actress?
All these
Like,
white girls look alike
man,
anyway. Who
listen.
cares?
So yeah, exactly. But what? Like, who cares? Like, I mean, if you would have told me that was the same girl from that movie, I'd have been like, all right,
Okay, yeah, me
yeah,
too. Like,
okay. I had no idea they
what
weren't the same
was it?
person.
Her performance that won you, like in the bit part of where she opened the door for 5 minutes in Endgame, like, and then she stood there at Tony's funeral. Oh,
Yes.
that was so good. She needs to be in the next movie.
Yeah.
I, you could have told me it was the girl from the first Ant-Man movies, and I would have been like, okay.
Oh, that you grew up. Yeah, who knew? Yeah, no, yeah. So that's ridiculous. Her daughter Ant Man. I thought that character was okay. I'm kind of turning into Hutch here, and I'm starting to hate teenage heroes a little bit. But might have just been this version of it. But I didn't really, honestly, I didn't really care all
Please
that
tell
much.
me how she's distinct from Kate Bishop in any way.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah,
And Kate Bishop was great, and
yeah,
Hope was fine, but Hope does have the distinction of being the only character that actually develops from the beginning to that's different
yeah,
going into the movie that she is coming out.
yeah.
So I guess
Literally and
that's a win.
figuratively. Yeah, I mean, and we'll get to her powers and suits and all of that kind of stuff. There's a subplot about her protesting the world and gets arrested. I mean, look, it's fine. Like, I didn't have any real problems with that. I just had a little bit of a problem with um Wasp, basically. I
Mhm.
mean, that was really my biggest issue. I'm like, just take her name off the title or just cut her out of the movie. If y'all are so against whatever she was against, just cut her out of the movie. You're not doing her any favors at
Right.
this particular point. So yeah, so they get sucked into the quantum realm.
Well, I
That
mean, we didn't talk about Ant-Man at all, but
oh, it is his movie.
I mean, he was like he was basically just the same goofy guy. Like, I I guess the thing that I would have maybe liked to see is him like be like, no, I am an Avenger. No, I
Mhm,
am the first line of defense against what's going to be the Phase 4 threat. And he kind of was, but he
mhm,
kind of got punked too. And like he just became the dad, like immediately became the dad. And
mhm.
his confidence was only because he was a dad. And his connection to the Avengers was always played as a joke.
Right.
And he got his ass beat in the end.
Yeah.
And literally ends the movie with the same scene as he begins the movie.
Yeah.
Like
So,
like
Mallrats. Oh, not Mallrats. No, what's that? Chasing Amy.
he
That's
goes from goes nowhere in the movie.
right.
Goes the long way to nowhere in this movie.
Yeah. Again, I think we all like that actor.
Yeah,
Like, I can't remember his name off the top of my
Paul
head
Rudd.
right now. Paul Rudd. Thank you. I think we all like him. He's fun. He's good at pretty much whatever he chooses to do. So I don't think it's that. I think it's just how is Ant Man any different than Hawkeye?
He doesn't
Gave him
have any
made him a
skills.
one made him a one note joke, or
Yeah,
not a well one note character, and didn't really evolve him out of that.
right.
And that's pretty much the same thing too. You know, I mean, again, and I don't know how it turned out, or maybe he's anti-vax too. I'm like, there's no Luis, like his whole
Mhm.
crew team, like those are the things that kind of made that movie unique and funny in a way. And because I didn't even really think about it until I got out of the movie, I'm like, what happened to his crew?
Yeah, because you
Like
could
they had
draw
already,
like either parallels or contrast to him and his crew in a way that
mm-hmm,
you couldn't with the rest of the family. And so,
yeah,
like like with him trying to exist within that craziness and kind of playing off of that, I think that was kind of what made him that did kind of make those movies.
Yeah.
and because
It
he's the joke, and like the other Avengers don't treat Hawkeye like a joke, but they treat Ant-Man like a joke.
right.
So,
Mm. Yeah, I don't know. All right. We'll get to Kang here in a bit, but yes, he took over the world. So that cutscene that we saw at the beginning where he crash landed into the quantum realm, he's been there all that time as long as Janet was there. And it is revealed once they get pulled in, Janet's like, searching for or trying to stay away from somebody, and and it turns into this really kind of Star Wars fantastical world here with all of these creatures. And that's what I meant when I text you. I was like, man, this really is like Attack of the Clones, not the
mhm,
movie
yeah,
itself, but the
yeah,
characterizations of the things like that, and which were fine. The Glob little character, I mean, he was funny. I think that's the first time they've ever mentioned a telepath with
mm, I didn't
Cheaty
think about
from
that.
The Good Place. Yeah, like okay,
So is he not
that's
Mr.
moving us forward.
Fantastic now?
Nah, who knows? Um, yeah, I was thinking, I was like, oh god, here we go. But yeah, and then that lady that's in there, I don't know, she's Spanish, Mexican, I don't know what the fuck she was. She was fine though.
Mhm,
Like the leader of that group of
mhm.
people, like that's fine. There's like, oh okay, so Scott and them get drink me. I thought that was very funny actually. I was kind of choke laughing. Drink the goo. That that little crew of whatever, and they're basically like been fighting this war against Kang since he's been there. Janet knows that he's there. It leads to this wildly weird guest spot by freaking Bill Murray that I guess we should start there too. Like, I don't fuck with Bill Murray like at all. Like I think I've heard and read enough stories that he's like a terrible person.
Yeah.
So like I've read those things about how terrible he was to those women on that Charlie's Angels movie,
Mm,
man. Like I don't mess with Bill Murray at all.
Groundhog Day, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
no, I there's a bunch of his old movies I love, but he has turned out to be a terrible person.
yeah, yeah, he's the Chevy Chase of Bill Murray's.
And I
And
I heard, like, I don't know if it was, the actress who plays Cassie, he knew somebody was like, "Get me in a Marvel movie." I don't know why, just I guess to get paid or just to say he was in it or whatever, but, I
yeah,
mean, he was in for a transition scene.
yeah.
And
And again,
some wacky dialogue, like, "We had
yes.
sex, Hank, suck it," you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
"I had needs." "Mom, I don't wanna hear that." It's not even your
Yeah,
mom, it's your
exactly. Yeah, I mean, and again, but that's that joke and that bit played within the Ant Man universe or whatever. Um, but as we finally get to tell the whole story about when Kane got there, he got well, not talk about how he got sent there at first, but he's there. His power, his chair, needed to be repowered. They spent all this time trying to get that fixed so she could get back, to Earth. Him promising that, you know, so I could, you can go back to your daughter and blah 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 blah. Okay, so the internet chatter is online after the movie. It was like, did Kang fuck? And I'm gonna say yes.
Well, I mean,
Uh,
she had needs, and Bill Murray fit those needs, so
I'm just saying, there's a lot of internet chatter, but yes. So they finally get the chair like working, but the chair is like kind of sentient or whatever. So when
it's,
Janet,
has a neuropathic connection to him.
yes, whatever, yeah, a neogenic recombinator to him, and
No,
so
it's
when she
legit, he
touches,
controls it with his mind, so she tapped into the neural interface. That was reasonable.
okay,
I'll give
well
him that.
she touched the chair and
Mhm.
saw like all of his plans or whatever, what he was going to plan to do or whatever, and she's like,
Wreck shit.
no, yeah, you can't do that. And then she winds up Hank pimming the battery, Pym particling the battery or whatever, and it breaks it into a gazillion pieces. And then that's what he's been searching for, trying to get fixed that to repower his chair so he can get the hell out of there. That's really, the undercurrent plot of this whole thing. Did I miss anything there?
No.
Okay. So he's built this world in there. He's got this, everybody kept saying like those were like micronauts, like
Yeah,
his
I don't know
army or
where the
whatever.
people came from. Like,
Yeah.
if they also just got ejected into the quantum realm or if they're already
Yeah.
there. But yeah, there's analogies to the microverse, which I know I'm familiar with the toy line and I understand there was a
Mm,
comic, but I couldn't pick a
yeah.
micronaut
Fuck with it.
out of a lineup
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah.
So they might that's some
Yeah.
ROM era shit.
Oh, Hutch. And in his duties of creating his army, and this is where we have to talk about a couple of things I mentioned earlier, he has a Modoc.
Mm,
And Modoc is okay, there's so many levels here. And I mean levels. All right. One, ain't none of you motherfuckers complaining about the depiction of Modoc in this shit. Modoc fans, because Modoc doesn't have fans.
no.
You're lying to yourself. You're just being obtuse for the sake of being freaking obtuse. Nobody gives a about Modoc. He is a joke character, always been a joke character. They treated him as a joke and probably made the best version of Modoc that you can.
Mm,
With that being said, we did never need to see the connection between the dude from the first movie with that face. Like that shit looked awful. Like
I could never I'm like, I know that's supposed to be him, but that doesn't look like him to me.
it didn't really look like him, right? Yeah. Yeah, it didn't.
I
But it
mean, it
just
made
looked awful.
sense, like, they showed him getting all crushed up, and they showed him, like, with a big head and little arms. It made perfect sense, and
Hmm.
why not? But
Right.
it was just another source of jokes,
Right.
and
Yeah.
spoiler alert, they kill him, so
What
what
was the
like,
point? Yeah.
what does it matter?
When he was his faced up Modoc or whatever, it looked like the comic book. I was like, oh, okay, he's that character or
Mm,
whatever. I'm like, never let Modoc talk. Every depiction that we've ever seen of Modoc has been a joke, like an
mhm.
absolute joke. So y'all are being fake internet fans here. Nobody's mad about the depiction of Modoc.
Yeah,
But
even,
two,
like, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, like, they didn't
yeah,
portray it as a joke, but they were still like, "Okay, this guy's weird looking," it like,
mm,
if there's no way to be like, "Oh,
yeah,
this
to do it any other way,
big
right?
head, tiny arms creature," yeah.
Yes. Two, the CGI issue that I spoke about was probably most noticeable there, though. Like that face thing, that just
Mhm.
didn't work. Like, so I can't believe that tested and people were like, "Oh yeah, no, that should be doing," because you could have just done it once and then left his face as it was, or maybe took it off when he died. Spoiler alert. So I didn't like that part. At I like the Modoc, like again when it was with the little gold face, but like that's basically it. And so his whole plot or his Modoc's thing, it was his evil genius that brought them into the quantum realm. Hoo ha 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 ha. And he's been trying to get his revenge all of these years against Scott and whatever. So whatever. Kang winds up capturing Ant-Man and his daughter, um, and he wants to find his battery. That's basically it. And we needs his help to go and do it. He has to go into this one area and he has to go find that, and then we lead to this other big CGI thing, which I wasn't necessarily a fan of. I got it, but I didn't need to see it. Like all the Ant-Man, and including the one with the from
Oh,
Dunkin' Donuts or whatever, or Baskin Robbins.
yeah.
Yeah, that was unnecessarily hokey,
So
and you
let's
probably
let's back
didn't
up
need
a
to make
minute.
it. Go
Let's
ahead.
back up a minute. So when we get Kang essentially in costume, just ruthless as fuck, telling Scott Lang, "You either go get my battery, my neogenic recombinator, or I'm gonna kill your daughter." Total
Mm,
control over the environment, just ruthless,
mm,
cool, like awesome, great, good
yeah,
costume design was phenomenal. Presence of Jonathan Majors is just amazing.
yeah.
Where does that go? Where what happened after this? What happened to that person?
Yeah, we're getting to the end part, which is my one of my bigger
And I
issues
like
too.
yeah,
And
and
this
so
is
then
also
yeah, we get to the big ant schmaz, and
yes,
like the thing that killed me here was like, oh, flying was the answer. You're in this
yeah,
reality. You go through this quantum realm. You end up on this featureless plane because CGI budget.
mm,
You have to make a mountain of Ant Man, and they can all do it for Hope
mm,
and or Cassie. Sorry,
yes,
and if he could have just flown, it wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have mattered because Wasp flies in and flies him up to get it.
yeah,
And why didn't
yeah,
Kang just they like it's not like he's imbued with Pym particles. They carry cartridges. Why didn't Kang
Yeah.
just be like, "Give me them
Just give me
cartridges.
them
I'm gonna go get my
cartridges.
stuff." Like, it didn't make any sense. This was stupid. This was like, I don't know what we're gonna do. Just how about a mountain of Ant-Man and we'll stick the
Yeah,
Baskin
it seems
Robbins
like a
guy in
good
it.
idea at this point. Yeah, so like, what's the cheapest way that we could get to that point? Because that's basically how it feels like just with the CGI at this point, And so, yes, he gets it, gives it back to Kang. He's in by with his power. I mean, we're going to talk about Jonathan Majors at the end, so let me forget about that part. And yeah, we go to our schmaz ending, as you said. Hank has been talking to the ants all this time on this planet that had come through the quantum realm with them, and then they got like little headsets, and they attack Kang at the end, and yeah,
No,
it's a
thank you.
mess.
No,
Yeah,
thank
the
you.
ending is a mess. Like the ending is a whole mess. On top of the fact that Kang, who they had built up fairly well up to this point, to the point of like, are you the one with the hammer? Like,
Mhm.
so he had obviously killed and been fighting Avengers for in different realms for a while, or different multiverses for a while, but he got taken out by some ants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, so he himself has no powers, but he has technology and he's supposed to be a brilliant tactician. So I
Mhm.
didn't like how, like, and then like his force field and his beams and stuff, that was all cool. And he did like one cool move where he twisted
Mhm.
the marshmallow laser head back on him and stuff like that. But it's like,
Mhm.
I didn't like how he was like seemingly fueled by rage. Like, you're a tactician. Like, why are you screaming at these folks? Just like
Right.
pick them off and be like precise and do cool stuff. And they shouldn't be a threat to you. Why? And then the ants came in. I was like, oh, fuck this.
Yeah. Yeah. They yeah, that part wasn't great. And he's not really defeated. As they're starting to get themselves to try to get back to their Earth or whatever, he kind of makes a comeback. And then at this point, he is getting in this fight with Ant-Man, and I was like, oh, they about to kill Paul Rudd.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean that stomp there,
Yeah.
was like, oh shit, like they're going to kill him, which would in a sense made sense, but like, okay, they don't.
That
And
would have been
Jan
one ending that could have
yeah,
carried that. That would have been one ending that would have made this movie mean anything.
right. Yeah, because if you do kill him and he stays there, or even if you don't kill him and he gets stuck there himself, they've already gone back to whatever. It's like, okay, so he's stuck there, Ant-Man 4
Mm-hmm.
Electric Boogaloo,
Mm-hmm.
because at least there's something there as opposed to the end that we do get. He gets pulled out, Kane gets stuck in, so he's, the same where he was before. The engine had been broken up again with the PIM particles. And we get this walking ending at the end.
Oh, you and what? And so he gets the shit kicked out of him. Wasp comes out, comes back, you know, because not to again, not to reaffirm their relationship in any way. It's just the day needs saving. So Wasp comes in,
Yeah.
kicks Kang's ass, and then I was like, okay, well, at least they're stuck here, right? No.
Nah. Yeah.
Couple seconds later, oh, there you go. Cassie's
Yeah.
got him.
Yeah.
And Kang is, I don't know, something weird happened. He may or may not be defeated. Who knows?
Yeah, we don't know really. Um, and so Ant-Man starts walking up and down the street like Spider-Man 3. And the voiceover is Scott, and he's basically going to, I think it was Hope's or maybe the daughter's birthday or whatever. I don't know
Cassie.
whose birthday
Yeah.
was, Cassie's. Yeah, and then they're like, in his head, he's like, wait a second. Oh boy said that if he defeats me, it's only going to get worse.
Mm-hmm.
Did I do the right thing?
Mm.
And
Nah,
I
it'll be
thought it
fun.
ended like that idea, pulling back to that conversation. I was like, that's good. That part's good because it does tie into that. And we'll talk about it in a second here too. It also ties into Loki because that's a very similar speech
Right.
that Kang gives to Loki and Lady Loki. There, he's like, wait till you see the rest of them.
Right. I'm
And I'm like, okay, that's a great tie in there. But from getting from A to D here, it was just, kind of up and down. But again, it's not like it didn't fit the universe of the rest of the Ant-Man movies. I mean, obviously the first one's really good, the second one is less than, and the third one is less than that. That's a typical progression for most movies. So I didn't really see it that far off the mean, I guess. So I didn't really have that real issue with it. It just had hokey parts to it.
I just thought it was pointless. Like the upshot of this movie is Cassie got a suit
Yeah.
because everything else we already knew. Like we knew that there were more Kangs coming.
Yeah.
We knew that some of them are worse than others. Um, like it didn't give us any indication of what the Avengers are doing anyway at this point.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
are there
they
Avengers?
they really kind of jobbed Kang because he got in effect beat by Ant Man and his insect crew with Wasp,
Mm,
like and some ants, some cybernetic ants who lived, for however many days and developed new technology. I mean,
yeah.
like they built him up and then he was a chump and then he got punked.
Mm, yeah.
And allegedly, like he was exiled there by the rest of the Kangs because he knew what they were all up
Mm,
to, which gets
right.
into our trailer.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, let's jump into that. And there's two cut scenes. Once again, 12 years into these movies, people are still getting up and leaving the movie theater. I'm just like, I don't understand you people. I mean, unless you're just disgusted with the movie and just like, this Ant Man some
I
bullshit,
could go
man.
watch it on YouTube is usually what I
Yeah, that's fair too. Like, fuck Ant Man. Um.
because
Okay,
it
so cut.
Wakanda goes on forever. I was like, what's the oh yeah, I can see that on the
Yeah. Oh, that's not a great one either, but that's a whole nother. We did that podcast. All right. So our first cut scene is Council of the Kangs first? Yes,
yeah.
Council of the Kangs was first. So and again, the South saying, man, we know you hate Kangs. But this is like a total rip from like Avengers comic books here. Like so yeah, I mean, even the cut scene where they're all in the stands and they're like screaming and all. I mean, that's a literal cut from a comic book. So I'm like, oh, okay. Like you said, we knew about the Council of the Kangs. We knew that there was a whole bunch of them all across the multiverses. Like that's that. And then, they were just talking about how, well, that Kang fucked up, so like we're perfectly okay with that him being there, but kind of like this idea of getting ready for that. And we know the end of this is the Kang dynasty. Like we understand at some point near the end. I don't know if Kang dynasty is before Secret Wars. I think it is. And we get into another Avengers movie.
Mm.
So that we're fine. We're far down the road. We understand that. I'm okay with it. Like I had no problem with that. And then they
and
have the second cut
and we
scene.
get a Mortis and a Ramatut and I guess the Scarlet
Yeah, around
Centurion. So we get like
yeah.
the principal Kangs amongst everybody
Mhm.
else. And yeah, you're right. It is a picture out of the comics.
Yeah, so I mean, it was fine. I had no problem with the Council of the Kangs. Then our second cutscene is, I think it's what Miss Doctor Timely or something like that.
Victor
Also,
Timely. And let me
yeah,
tell you, I was like the guy next to me. I was like, is there another one? He's like, yeah, there's another one. It's all right. And I'm sitting there and watching like all the VXF credits go by. I was
yeah,
like, damn, they should have just made this a cartoon. There was like five different studios of like
yeah,
100 people each. And that's where
yes.
you were saying up front, like, there's just not an industry to sustain all these CGI movies, and
Nope,
there's just gonna be trash.
nope. That's not at all. And everything gets pushed back. And I'm like, okay, Victor Timely, also from the comic books too. I'm like, okay, I could see why this is an issue. And then it pulls out to the crowd, and it's what Lightning McQueen and Loki. Um,
Nice.
it's like, oh no, that's him.
Yeah.
That's the variant. And and it cuts off from there.
And
I'm
he's
like,
like, I thought he was
okay.
dangerous. He is. Oh, well, he's and Lightning McQueen's like, I just watched this movie. Ant-Man beat his ass. What are you worried about? Like
Yeah.
Wasp beat
So
his ass. Why do we care about
yes.
this guy?
Why we care about him? But that now that leads us into Loki season two.
So here's the thing though, is like this movie, like the only reason you have that is this movie for people who didn't watch Loki, who didn't get to see He Who Remains, didn't get teed up the idea that there's this person who's lived all these multiverses and there's worse Kangs coming? Because that was essentially the message of this. That's already been portrayed. And I might be a solo act at this point.
Yeah, there we go. Hello.
Yeah.
What is up
So
with us and Ant-Man freaking reviews?
no, no. So I was saying,
Executive.
like, I is this movie like it's odd to me that they tee up Loki because this movie has to be made for people who didn't watch that show because the reveal is there are a bunch of Kangs and the worst one's coming. I mean,
Hmm.
it's like we already knew that.
Right.
What?
Yeah.
Why did this movie make a point of telling us that?
Well, I
Or,
think probably more so for like just to get the tag in for when that scene comes up. Again, that's the same thing they did in the other movies.
mm,
To connect the movies. We just didn't have TV shows at the time, so I was like, okay, that's fine. And but now it becomes all right. So now what? Obviously Kang's gonna have to play some version of an issue in Guardians of the Galaxy
no,
3.
no.
No, come
That's
on.
James Gunn's world. He doesn't need nobody. He's nobody like he might put in a little trailer to string it together, but
That's what I meant. No, 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 not as the star or whatever. They
yeah,
got some other black guy in there. I was like, who the hell is that?
the
I don't know. So,
high evolutionary.
is that who it is?
Yeah,
That's what I thought it was. That's what I
yeah.
couldn't remember on the X-Men podcast we did, like on that new X-Men book that Pepe Larraz. I was like, I cannot, because every time the High Evolutionary show, you know what? You just definitely made me not see Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
I
Because
mean, that's
anything with the High Evolutionary is awful. Every
it's
single comic book. Yeah, okay, we're good.
it's
Damn.
gonna be Rocket's touching story of him fucking a ferret or something. Like,
Oh Lord. Yeah, I was probably out on that to begin with, but High Evolutionary didn't help.
what was my review of this movie on the way out was this was Guardians of the Galaxy 2 level for me. It's every
Okay,
fake family drama and
I
I
got you.
don't.
Yeah. So, but that pulls us back into like, where are we going from here?
Mm,
So we get to see Kang. I think that's in the summer sometime. Loki 2, Electric Boogaloo. And
I
then
hope Sean
what?
do.
Like, yeah, there's no, I mean, honestly, there's nothing that's really going to come out that's going to draw that out at all. I'm like, we're going to wait till what? Do we get to the Avengers movie? Because there's nothing else in between.
There's a Captain America, but I don't know that that's gonna have anything to do with it.
That's what I'm saying. Like all of this stuff has to be leading towards this Kang Dynasty Avengers team up.
Hmm.
All these young Avengers that are gonna
Oh,
make
speaking
Hutch
of,
explode his head with all these teenage heroes. And then what?
we get the
I
Marvels, so that could
oh
tie
that'll
in.
be
The
well because
Marvels,
again
Captain America, the Thunderbolts, and Blade. So yeah, none of that. Like
yeah, none of that's like, oh shit, Kang. Except maybe, I mean, the Marvels. I mean, again, only because it's based in space, and that's why I was saying that about Guardians too,
Space
or
Bitches.
Guardians 3. But that's what I'm saying. Like, again, the interconnectedness between Phase 4. Look, man, we use this term long term booking on here to make fun of AEW all the time. Maybe we just don't see the pieces. I don't think it's that though. Like I really don't. Like I think we're nerds and we're willing to give, especially Marvel stuff, probably a little bit more benefit of the doubt than other properties. I don't. They may tie it together, but it's obviously not going to be the cohesive story that we saw with
No,
the Thanos story. Like it's just not, and I'm okay with that too. You know, as long as, and we've been saying this for years now, as long as somehow you get your X-Men universe fixed around this, well, I'm fine with it. I'm okay. Like we're fine.
yeah, but there's a lot of like grounded stuff coming out. Like other than Guardians and Marvels, like Captain America's almost certainly fighting some form of terrorists.
Yes, that was
Thunderbolts are gonna be fighting cops.
yeah.
Blade's fighting
Definitely
vampires
the ANCAPs.
and
Um,
cops. Echo's fighting cops.
Cops.
Daredevil's
Yeah,
fighting cops. And
yeah.
so Loki,
Dirty cups. Yeah, Loki fighting time cups. Um, I mean, and then
unless they're
Secret
gonna
and
try and use what if to advance the story, and I don't see
yeah,
that.
and then Secret Invasion is going to primarily be the
That's like a whole
Kree.
different direction at this
Yeah, the
point.
Kree Skull story. Like,
And Armor Wars is still coming.
yeah, I mean, listen, man, Kevin Feige, you bet. I mean, you gonna
You
earn them
fucking up.
checks, sir. If you can weave this shit somehow together
Mm,
that we go, oh my god, I didn't see that coming. That would be amazing. It would. Uh,
agree.
so I mean, Yeah, I'm at like, look, it was fine. I have no problems with it. Like, if somebody's just like, oh, you know, like I didn't like it completely. I thought it sucked completely. I'm like, I can't go that far, but I mean, I can understand how somebody's just like, oh, it's Guardians 2, or I didn't really care for it. Didn't make sense. Like, okay, whatever. That's fine. I just didn't go in with any expectation that it was
Yeah.
going to blow my socks off. That's basically it.
I mean, I was hopeful that it was going to point us in a direction,
Hmm.
because everything has just been, like I said, expanding the universe, and this just reiterated things we already kind of knew. And like I said, the one development is Cassie, and if that's pointing us towards some young Avengers team, I don't want that.
Yeah. Yeah, Ironheart's coming as well. That's gonna be the same, like local. He when she fighting the Hood, like I mean,
Yeah.
like that ain't nothing to do with no freaking the Kang either. I mean, yeah, it's a mess.
And she already built her whole, like, that's, they should have never put her in that movie because she already built her battle suit, and they're like, oh, we got to keep that here because you got to
Yeah,
go build it on your show again. Like, come on.
yeah. To go fight the Hood
You got to
of
go
all people,
go
man.
build an armor suit armor out of a car again. We're gonna keep your Wakanda technology here. What?
Lord,
Come on.
yeah. Ugh.
Feel like you're the same age as me. How come you get to be queen
Yeah.
on your purple shape herb on that herb?
Yeah, wait till they age up to T'Challa in 15. Anyway, all right. So we have that. So I didn't have the list in front of me. Okay, so just off the things that you had just said, movie wise, are you gonna go see it in the movie theater? Guardians three,
Guardians of the Galaxy?
yeah,
No, I mean I'll probably see it like on a Wednesday, the third week it's out or something. Or if I
oh,
happen to be like, I don't know. Like I'm
I'm
not gonna
bored.
rush out to see it.
That's a hella no for me. Not going to see it. I'll wait for alternate means, Fox, FX, whatever. That's an absolute no for me. The Marvels,
Yes.
yeah, same. Like I will go and see that. That's not even in dispute at this point that I would go and see it. But that's it, right? Captain America. I mean, that's supposed to be
In
next year. Okay, I'll see
2024.
if that
Yeah. And
happens.
this year it's just Guardians and the Marvels.
Okay, so I mean, I'll see Captain America. That's fine. I don't have this whatever depiction or upsetness about Sam Wilson doing that as a lot of people do. I'm perfectly fine with that. Thunderbolts passing in the movie theater. No, can't
Yeah, I
see it.
mean, they gotta sweeten
I have
that
a lot of
deal
work to
so
do
far.
to get, yeah, to build up that kind of trust at this point. So anyway, all right. So if you 7 out of 10ing Ant-Man, where are you giving it? Or
Uh
1 out of 10ing, excuse me.
1 out of 10. I was like, shit, how'd it get
Yeah,
to
seven out
seven?
of ten. Damn, carry the one.
I mean, depending on how you evaluate it, it's almost like a five because it's like there's nothing so bad about it. There's nothing good about it. Like
Mm,
it just exists.
just a movie.
This is
Okay.
the movie that the last record we had to make on Columbia Records to get out of our deal so we could go to Atlantic. So it's mostly like greatest hits and covers,
Yeah, the artist formerly known as Ant Man.
pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, if I could say I give it a five on a scale of 1 to 10, but if I rank it like where does it fit within the 40 products that we've seen or however
Mm,
many, it's low.
yeah, I would even say that it's low on anything after Endgame in terms
Hmm.
of movie properties. Okay, I mean, is it better than Wakanda Forever? No, it's probably closer to it than that. Is it better than Spider Man? No.
No better than
Um,
Doctor Strange.
and no, you know what I mean? Like it would be on the lower side of that, and even going across properties in terms of TV, it would probably still be kind of in that mid kind of range. I mean, but again, is it better than Eternals?
I mean, like
That
Eternals is another movie for me that's like, it's not, I just don't enjoy it. It's not, it's
yeah,
fine. It's
yeah,
not put together in a way that makes sense. It's
it's pretty.
interesting to look at. I don't care about
Hmm.
any of the characters. And then it's over, which is basically like this movie. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think
Yeah.
Eternal, like there was a lot of the talk was like it's the lowest rated movie since Eternals. I don't think Eternals and I don't think this are necessarily bad movies. Well,
Hmm.
like I hate Iron Man 3.
Hmm.
I, you know,
Same.
I even though I said this was Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I actively dislike Guardians of the Galaxy 2. This movie was just pointless.
Yeah.
Wakanda
Can't.
Forever to me was boring. This movie is
Hmm.
just pointless. Like I did
Hmm.
check my watch, but I did not consider leaving. So,
All right. Is
but I
it
think
better
it's a
than?
miss. I think it underserved Kang more than anything.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, again, I said we talk about. I mean, look, if Jonathan Majors wasn't in this movie, it's doesn't even get made.
Yeah.
Like he's
I was sitting
really
there for
like
the
that
first half,
good.
like, when do we get Kang? Where's
Yeah.
Kang? I want
Yeah.
Kang.
Yep. I'm like, I mean, talk about villains making movies. If he's not in it, there's no movie.
Mm-mm.
And again, one of those situations that an actor that just elevates everything that he's in. And so you can give him this role with a dude in a purple suit that Sandman hates all to be damned, and he can make you care about it, you know. But again, are they giving us, this internet thing too? It's like, oh, you didn't give us enough Kang. I'm like, I think we got enough Kang. It was just what they had Kang doing at certain points.
Yeah, I think that like it I don't know, sometimes like his accent wavered and I don't know if that's part of the character design
Mm,
or if they just didn't figure it out. I also think his power level fluctuated
yeah,
quite high at
yeah,
quite high to quite low
yeah.
over the course of the
And then his
movie.
ability to fight or
Yeah,
strategize, like how you
was
get taken
not
out by some
strong.
ants. Yeah,
Right,
you
like you think this is the first uprising I put down? Well, apparently because
apparently because you didn't
ants
pla-
just
you
got you.
didn't yeah, you didn't plan for ants. All right. Yeah. So I'd probably be in that same six-ish, 6.5, maybe 7 on a good day, depending upon a rewatch. And this is probably something that we will on a rewatch we'd be like, oh, you know what? I didn't notice that. I didn't notice that. Okay, I get like probably it. I keep determining things now. Is like, is that a movie I need to see on the big screen, or will I enjoy it better at the house?
Mm,
This is probably something I would have enjoyed better at home,
mm,
where I could have stopped it. I could have paused. Like, what did I just hear? Did you hear what he just said?
mm.
And try and go through it and watch it at my pace. Whereas this one, or parts of it, it was just globbed on of a whole bunch of stuff, and you just kind of had to get through it to kind of get to the next scene. So I don't know, 6.5. Call it that. That's it. See y'all. Like we told y'all, we be trying to disagree. This shit don't work. Just goes, it comes back. It always comes back to the center. Like we haven't gotten to that point where it's like, hey man, fuck you. Guardians of the Galaxy was awesome. 2 was awesome. You fucking suck. So we haven't gotten there yet. But keep going. Phase 4. You might.
You
You
might.
you pushing it. You pushing it for sure. All right. So we'll start to wrap this one up. We still have year 10 of the Sins of Sinister to record, and we'll try to get that out for everybody up this week as we move into that phase of our Sins of Sinister podcast. I'm still trying to get Brother Beavis to watch The Last of Us. He's still resisting mightily here. Like it's just his hate for zombies is strong, but eventually
Well,
we'll break him down.
let me guess. There's a character who's overwhelmed with grief over the actions he had to take to save his family, or overwhelmed by the sacrifices somebody else made for him, and it turns out the people are the real worst ones. The people are
No,
the real enemy,
no,
and
well,
don't get
definitely
attached to anybody
not.
because they get jump scared and that's
No,
it. They out.
definitely not the third part. Uh, as I was trying to explain to my daughter this morning, and your resistance of watching this, I said to her, he's drawn to daughter,
Mm,
father, daughter shows and situations or whatever. This is the ultimate version of that. And again, if you listen to this show for a long time, I don't do scary stuff. Uh, You could count the number of times you've seen zombies on definitely one hand.
mm.
It's none of that. This is Game of Thrones. It's come for the titties, stay for the drama. This is come for the zombies, but stay for the drama. You not getting zombies. Like you just not. And so video game adaptations have been awful from what I hear because I don't play a bunch of video games. So I certainly aren't watching the movies. If you would have told me that this was not based on a video game, this was just like Chernobyl or some show like that, this is basically what it is. That's basically it. Super well acted, super well written. Oh yeah, there might be a zombie here or there, but like, yeah, I, I encourage you and others to go ahead and take it on, but also, it's almost near the end. Just watch all that shit at once. I think it's on episode 7 this week of either 8 or 10. Yeah, you could probably just watch it in like a binge. So, but we'll come back to that as well. So remember, you can find this podcast SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play. Brother Beavis is gonna go get a honey lemon tea or something, man. You definitely struggling with the
Yeah.
with the cold
Yeah.
there. Yeah, I don't tell you it was 85 here today. Just saying. Yeah, awful. But yeah, so we'll come back to that and get the other podcast up. Yeah, rate, review, subscribe, and everything, everybody. So on the podcast side, as X-Men the animated music starts to play us out, I'm the producer and I'm signing off. Go ahead and sign off, Brother Beavis.
See you next time.
Get some rest, man. Everybody, we'll see everybody soon. Bye.